Welcome to our class, and our theme today, the word in Sanskrit is svadhyaya, bit of a mouthful. Sva means the self, and dhyaya means to know or to study. And a big part of yoga philosophy is about studying or knowing ourselves. And there's a lot of information in the Yoga Sutras about our conditioning and our habits and how they kind of rule our lives. And the idea with self-study or self-knowledge is we figure out who we are beyond or underneath all of that stuff that, I should do this, I shouldn't do that. And we respond, when we know ourselves more deeply, we respond from a place of authenticity. And we become aligned with who we are and what we do. And last week I talked about the idea of clinging and aversion, of pushing things away and wanting things and getting really hung up on the way things are not and wishing they were a different way. And when we practice svadhyaya or self-knowledge or self-study, we learn to accept those things a little bit more easily. We come into more alignment with ourselves. So one way we can practice this is when we do something, if we don't get the result that we wanted from what we did, this is karma, right? The most basic form of karma is we do something and we get a result. It's not like it's a bad result or a good result, it's just a result. It's a response to an action. But if we do something, we do a certain action and we don't get the result we want, often what we do is we do it again with more determination, right? And what the Yoga Sutra says is if you do something and you don't get the result that you want, try something else. Try doing something else. And in that way, we can study what are the results. When I did this, it didn't work out so well. When I did that, it didn't work out so well. I tried that and it was a little better. And we start to really tune into what's working for us and what isn't working for us. And that way we get, we get to hone in on what the right action is for us. And it may not be the same as the action for someone else. One way of connecting with ourselves is to let go of extraneous noise. So all that stuff in our heads, the shoulds, the shouldn'ts, and all of that noise. And that's what the practice of yoga is doing, sorry, just letting someone else in here. So the practice of yoga is, the ideal is that we're bringing our mind to a place where it's more calm, where it's more still, and as a result, we can actually see our own thoughts and our own feelings arising. So one of the ways to do that is through the movement that we do, but it's very easy to do a bunch of movement and think about something else. When we bring the breath in, which we always do, breathing in, breathing out in certain ways and in certain times, that also helps. And what we're going to try today is adding a little bit of sounding in, so making some sound with our voices. And when we bring sounding in, that also brings our attention much more fully into the present moment. So we're going to use one simple sound, and the sound is yum. Right? It's actually spelled Y-A-M, but it's pronounced yum. And it's the sound that corresponds to the heart. So all of the different chakras or energy centers in our bodies have a different sound associated with them, and hum is for the heart. And what the heart does is it connects our brain, right, that part of us that's very logical and that, I should do this, I shouldn't do that, with our guts. This is what I want, this is what I need, right? And we often overrule our gut feeling by our brain, and the heart is that connection. And the heart is also the area of our breath, right? So when we breathe, we're connecting our emotions and our head and our body. So we're bringing it all together. So we're going to start seated today, do a little bit of sounding and breath work seated. So you can sit on a chair, you can sit on the side of your bed, you can sit on the floor, whatever's comfortable for you. So I'll see you in a comfortable seat. So let's take a moment to check in, just notice how we're doing and where we're at right now. And a really, really important piece of svadhyaya that I haven't mentioned yet is that we have to let go of judgment. So when we do something, we don't get the result we want, our tendency sometimes is to beat ourselves up about that. Swadhyaya says, let go of the judgment, let go of beating yourself up. Just learn from that. Learn from your mistakes, learn from the things that don't work out for you rather than beating yourself up and creating more suffering. So let's take a moment to tune into just how the body is feeling right now without judgment, without even trying to change anything. So what are you aware of? What draws your attention? And often it's areas of the body that are uncomfortable or in pain. So let your attention go there, but try not to dwell there. So notice, and then see if for every place in your body that you might notice discomfort or holding or pain, see if you can find any other area that may feel free or open, relaxed, or even just neutral. So noticing where your mind is drawn. And for every little discomfort or uncomfortable area that you notice, see if you can also find an area that's at ease or at least neutral. And take a moment to tune into your breath and just notice, is the breath easeful? Is there some tightness in the breath? Does your breath feel short and choppy? Does it feel long and smooth? Again, it's not about fixing anything, but noticing, being aware. And maybe also notice the state of your mind. Is your mind busy? Did you get onto this class at the very last second while you were doing something else and you're still kind of half there? Or maybe your mind's really here and now. Maybe you've been waiting and feel really prepared and ready to be in the class today. So again, there's no judgment. There's no right or wrong here as we check in. We're all in different places, coming from different places and arriving here in this space. So let's bring the hands over the heart now. It could be one hand over the other, or if you prefer, it could be the prayer position. And take a moment to tune into the energy of your heart. What does your heart have to say when your guts and your brain get out of the way? Is there any message there? What are you aware of when you bring your attention to the area of your heart? Is there any emotion present that you can be aware of? Do thoughts or feelings come up? Maybe you feel the breath. So we'll move into making a little bit of sound, and we'll bring this sound up a few times through the class, and it's always optional. So if you feel comfortable in the space that you're in making some sound, I encourage you to do so. And if you don't feel comfortable for whatever reason, you can follow along by making the sound silently in your mind. And that will help to focus your attention. It won't have the same kind of resonance in your body, but it will have definitely a focusing effect on the mind. So the sound is yum, and it sounds like this. Yum. So inhale in your own time and make the sound as long as it feels comfortable, and then we'll continue on. So we'll do this several times. Yum. 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 And then letting that go, just take a moment to notice any vibration that you may be aware of in your body. And then we'll bring the hands onto the knees or the thighs, and we'll continue with the cat-cow movement, and also using that sound, yum, as you exhale. So inhaling, finding a little lift in the heart, exhale, yum. Again, yum. Do a few more like that. Yum. 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 And then again, letting that go. Let's do a few circles for the torso. After you've gone a few times in one direction, try circling the other way and try to stay tuned in and noticing. So the more we can connect the mind to what's happening, the more we're in the present moment. And that's a healing place to be. When we're doing one thing and we're thinking about a million other things, it's really difficult on us physically and mentally. There's a lot of tension that we hold to hold all of that stuff. So if we can, it's almost like a little vacation if we can just come to do exactly what we're doing without as many distractions. We're always going to be distracted, but with fewer. Right, so if you're sitting on, my puppy's coming to visit. If you're sitting on a chair, you can hold one side of the chair or put your hand on the bed or the couch. And if you're on the floor, you can use the floor for support. So we'll lift one arm and have one arm on the chair or on the ground. And think about anchoring down through your sit bone. Same side as the arm that's lifted. And as we reach the side, it's not about going as far as you can, but really reaching. So it's an up and over. So let's take a breath in here. And as you exhale, keep lifting, keep your sit bone anchored, and go a little to the side and then come up. Breathing in, exhale to the side. You can bend your elbow as you go to the side so that you're not pressing your shoulder up into your ear. And if it feels comfortable, stay for a few breaths. If you prefer to keep moving, go ahead and keep moving. And if you're staying, focus on nice, long, easeful breath. Coming back to the center, let's release the arms down so the hands are on the thighs or the knees. And notice, do you feel a little lopsided? Do you feel different on one side from the other? You might split yourself down the middle in your mind and notice, how does one side feel versus the other? And then we'll do the other side. So hand to the floor, the chair, whatever you're sitting on, reaching the other arm up. And again, really feel anchored down through that sit bone as you reach up towards the ceiling or the sky. the hand on the ground or the chair for support, keeping anchored as you go to the side on an exhale, lifting up to the center on an inhale, keeping the shortening side of your body as long as possible as you do this. Great, and again, you can stay and hold for a few breaths if you like. Breathing into that long side, and then eventually coming back to the center. And a few rounds of that cat-cow movement again. Just bringing things back to alignment. Right. And then let's come to sit with a neutral spine. We'll do a few circles for the wrists. And you can do this with your hands open, or you can make fists, depending what feels like the better stretch for you, or a few of each. Great. And then let's take the hands up by the shoulders, and we're going to open the hands and push out to the sides. Keep your shoulders relaxed. You might not straighten your arms, but you might. Good. And then make your hands into fists. Turn your fist down and bring your hands back towards your shoulders. So you're stretching across the top of your hand, and then press out. Good. Hands come in. You can exhale as you bring the hands in, and inhale as you push out. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale, push out. Let's stay here for a few breaths. And you can circle the wrists from this position. Great. And then turn your palms up. And we'll roll to bring the shoulders forward. The palms might turn all the way up the other way. And then rotate the shoulders open. Internal rotation and external rotation. Good. And then let's bring the hands back to the shoulders, and we'll rotate to the side with the whole torso, and then to the other side. You can breathe in as you come to the center, exhale as you go to the side, back to center, exhale. Right. And then when you come back to center, lift the arms straight up, lift both sides of the torso, and then let the arms slowly float back down to your sides. And we'll take another moment here before we change positions to tune in and notice. So you can do a quick little check-in. How does my body feel now? How is my breath? What's happening in my mind? So we'll come around onto all fours. You can swing your legs around, and if you're on the couch or on a bed, you might want to come down to the floor for this. It's a little tricky kneeling on a soft surface. Your hands and knees tend to sink in, and it becomes unstable and hard on the wrists. So find at least a fairly firm surface. And then cat-cow, breathing in, arching, exhaling, and rounding. You can do this on all fours as I am right now, or you can add child's pose to your exhale if you prefer. And we're going to come back to the sound that we've been using, which is yum. So your inhale is normal. And then if you like, you can make that sound yum as you exhale. Yum. 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 Last one. Yum. And then you can stay in child's pose for a few breaths, any variation that you like. So it could be elbows on the ground, could be hips moving right to the heels, or if your knees prefer a little bit less flexion, you can keep your hips over your knees, let your head hang down with the weight on the forearms. Again, whatever is comfortable for you, just taking a moment to rest, to breathe, and to feel the vibration, if any, of the sound that you've been making. So we're going to add on, coming up to all fours, lifting one leg as you breathe in and bringing it down and rounding as you exhale. So lifting, alternating sides, lifting and then bringing in. If you want to challenge yourself further, take the opposite arm, reach it out at the same time as you breathe in. Bring both the arm and leg down as you exhale. Do a few more, moving at your own pace, either just the leg lifting or the arm and the leg lifting, opposite pairs. Great, and then when you come back to all fours, vary the movement a little bit. So maybe circle your hips around, or you can do a little side to side movement. You could make a figure eight with your body, going back, coming forward, looping around and going back to the other side. Maybe you want to go back to cat-cow or move from all fours to child's pose. And for those of you who want a little bit more, you could lift up into downward dog as you start to warm up. Or maybe you'd rather rest in child's pose for a few breaths. So take your time and move in the way that feels right for you right now. This is all part of Svadhyaya, to know yourself, to tune into your own body, to your own wisdom, and to follow that wisdom. You know, using my instructions as a guide, but certainly not as definitive. Right? So always listen first to your body, and if it doesn't feel good, don't go there. So we're going to think about coming to stand now. So you can either come to a squat first, or you can bring your feet under you. We're going to end up in a forward bend. So you'll come onto your feet, let your head release down for a few breaths, or elbows on the thighs. And this is a good option if you've got any pressure in your head today, or sinus, high blood pressure, anything like that. And then as long as it's comfortable for you, we'll slowly roll upright. So you can let the arms hang down, let the head stay tucked in right till the very end, and bringing yourself up to stand. And then once you have your feet under you and you're upright, we'll take the feet a little bit apart to do a few circles with the hips. So we've been sitting and kneeling. Let's just move the hips in a bit of a circle to release any tension, to move into the joint, to lubricate the joint through movement. You can go both directions. And you could stay with a straight up circle if you like, or if you want to play around a little bit, you could make a figure eight with your hips. Try playing with that movement. Right, and then eventually making your way back to the center. So we'll move the shoulders now. You can start by lifting them up, squeezing them gently back and releasing them down as you exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back and down. If you like, you can alternate, so you can do one shoulder and then the other shoulder. And options to bring the arms in, either just the elbows, or if you have enough space where you are, you could bring your whole arm into that movement. If you like, you can also reverse directions. So if you're like me and spent a lot of time gardening this weekend, you might be feeling the shoulders and the back a little bit more than normal. And then coming back to eventually the center. And you can bring your feet so that they're in side by side. So about hip distance apart. So if you think of your hips as being where the hip bones are, not the outer part of your hips, you want your feet to line up with your hip bones. And that way your body is nicely centered over your feet. When you shift the weight back into your heels, little hips or over the heels, shoulders over the hips, and then your head over your shoulders. So probably feel, if you rock your weight back into your heels a bit, your thighs pull up. We're going to rock forward and back a few times. So as you rock forward, feel your thighs kind of relax. Tend to come forward with the pelvis a bit and then rock back. Feel your thighs pull up as you try to steady yourself. You can even lift your toes if you like. Maybe start to lift your heels as you rock forward. Lift your toes or even the balls of the feet as well as you rock back. So we're just playing around a bit with balance. Balance on 2 feet, but less of your whole foot, right? Just the balls of your feet and toes, maybe just the heels. Right, and then come back to full feet on the ground. And we'll work with this movement, lifting the arms as well. So we're just going to lift the heels and lower the heels. And then if you feel like you can juggle one more ball in this sequence, you could also add the sound in yum. So we'll lift the arms, lift the heels, and when you're ready to exhale, you'll lower the arms, lower the heels. Yum. Yum. Try to follow your own rhythm. It might be different from mine. Yum. Yum. One more. Yum. Let's bend and straighten the knees a few times. Let that go, let the effort go. It's more challenging than it looks to balance in that way. And then we'll shift the weight. 1 foot lifts, shift to the other foot, lift. If you want to have a chair for this part, you can certainly hold on to the chair or the wall. Right, and then see if you can balance for a few breaths on 1 foot. You can just lift the leg, or you can bring the hands under or over the knee as you like. Try not to lean back or round your back. So if you have to kind of round the back or lean back to hold your leg, then you might want to just lower the leg a little bit and even bring your toes to the ground if you're feeling unsteady. And then let's try the other side. So lift any amount, it really doesn't matter. We're just trying to find where is your balance today. So if your balance is best with one foot on the ground and the other foot touching the ground, that's fine. And if it feels really comfortable to bring the knee right up, then great, go for it. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, and then release that leg and give it a little shake. Shake out your arms, shake out your legs, release your head. Wonderful. Take the feet wide, a little bit wider again. Soft knees. We'll take the arms to the sides and add that gentle twist. So starting by taking one arm forward, one arm back, and twisting the body. Breathing in as you open the arms to the sides. Breathing out as you twist. You can add a forward bend if you want a little bit more, and if you still want more, you can widen the legs to reach further across the body. So you're still bringing one hand behind the back, the other arm's reaching for the opposite leg. And if you find your mind wandering, something that might be helpful is silently making, or even out loud if you like, making the sound yum with every exhale. Let's try one more to each side. And then when you come to the center this time, we'll lift all the way up. And exhale to release forward. We'll repeat that, coming all the way up. And then exhale forward. Again, if it helps you to focus, you might repeat that sound with every exhale. I'll be bringing it in from time to time. But if you want to continue it in between, feel free to do that. Great, let's stay a few breaths. So it could be hands on the thighs or elbows on the thighs if you like, or you could reach to the ground or your ankles. Try again to let your head release completely. When you're ready to come up, lift with a breath in. And exhale to release. You can step or wiggle your feet in. And let's come back to feet underneath the hips. We're going to walk on the spot. So one leg lifts, the opposite arm lifts. It's walking on the spot. I mean, who would walk like this really, but slow motion. More like marching, I guess, than walking. So again, just working on dynamic balance here and using the body, opposite pairs, good for the brain. Great, and then let's come back to neutral. And now we're going to go skating. So instead of stepping the legs forward, it's like we're pushing off with our skates, pushing off. Pushing off, so the leg reaches back. You can lean a little forward and let the arms go. Great, and then come back to neutral. So we can try a little bit of a sequence. It does require some balance. So if you're feeling a bit unsteady, you might want to have a chair handy or be near the wall. But again, it's dynamic, so we'll be moving. So taking a breath in, coming up. Great. Bring one knee up in front. Good, stretch back. Reaching the arms up. Come in and down. So inhale, lift. Exhale, lift the other knee any amount. Swing back as you lift the arms. Come back through. Step down and release. So for coordinating breath here, inhale, lift. Exhale, knee in. Inhale, stretch back. Toes can come to the ground. Exhale, come into the front. Inhale, foot down, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, lift. Other leg. Exhale, lifting in front. Inhale, stretching back. Exhale, back in front. Inhale, foot down, arms up. Exhale to release. So let's try that once more on each side. Coming up with the breath in. Exhale, knee up in front. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, knee up. Inhale, foot down, arms up. Exhale, release. Once more. Other side. Exhale, knee up. Inhale, stretch back. Again, foot could come to the ground or not. Inhale, forward. Exhale, forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, arms down. Okay, from here, lifting up with both arms, we'll bend both knees slightly and come into a forward bend where we bring the arms behind the back. Now let the head release. Coming back up with a breath in. And again, forward as you exhale. Right, and then eventually letting the arms release down to your sides. So we'll move into warrior pose. You actually don't need anything for this one. We'll take one foot forward, the other foot back. If you want to be more challenged, legs wider apart. If you want to be less challenged, feet a little closer together. So you decide, and if you've made the wrong decision, right, we can use Svadhyaya. We don't have to stay there. We can say, this feels like too much for me. I'm going to shift my position, right? So we use the information that we receive to make changes for the future. So back foot is turned out so that your whole foot is on the ground. Your front knee is going to stay bent with the ankle lined up underneath the knee. We'll bring the hands to the heart, one hand over the other. And see if you can keep your upper body upright rather than leaning forward here. So hands on the heart. We'll use the sound again for those who want to, taking the arms out to the sides, breathing in. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Yum. Again. Yum. Again. Yum. Last one. Yum. So this time we'll take the arms out to the sides, and instead of bringing the hands to the heart, we'll bring the hands to the front knee. And once you're there, you want to try to think about keeping your spine nice and long. Press into your back foot, feel really strong in your legs. And if it feels like it's available to you and wouldn't be a strain, take your arms out to the sides in this position. Find a little lift in your heart. If you're feeling confident here, step onto your front foot. Maybe lift the back leg a little. Keep the front knee bent. So we're working a little bit here. Toes can stay on the ground behind you or lift. And then when you're ready, step back to warrior. Reach the arms up overhead. And this time we'll come forward and relax. So you could bring your hands to your knee or your shin, the floor, blocks if you have them, a chair if it's handy. And let your head release. Take a few breaths here. If you feel tight in the front leg, bend and straighten it a few times so you're not just locked there in a position that's uncomfortable. Again, you can use blocks if you like, or whatever you've got handy. When you're ready, we'll come all the way up, breathing in, taking the arms up overhead, and then releasing the arms down. Step your feet back together. Pause for a moment. Notice, again, if you were to split your body down the middle, how one side feels compared with the other side. And then we'll switch. So again, choose the distance between your 2 feet that feels right for you. The wider, the more challenging. We want to keep the front knee bent over the ankle the whole time. And then hands to the heart. So same thing here, opening the arms to the sides and then chanting if you like. Inhale. Yum. 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 We'll add the forward bend, hands to the knee this time. Exhaling, move forward. Keeping the spine nice and long. So you're not rounding over your leg, using your leg for support, pressing into the back foot. Feel really strong in the legs. And then if it feels like you can do this without straining, take the arms out to the sides. From there, you can either stay or bring your hands back to the leg if you need to, or you can try to very slowly and carefully step onto your front foot. Maybe lift the back leg, maybe keep the toes down. When you're ready, stepping back into Warrior One, reaching the arms overhead, breathing in as you lift. Exhale to come forward again. It could be hands to the knee, the shin, the blocks, the ground, the chair, whatever you've got, and then maybe moving the front leg more straight, more bent to release and lengthen the back of the leg. Right, from here again, we'll lift all the way up with a breath in, reaching the arms overhead. And then exhaling to release. And again, you can step your feet back together. Give a little shake. And for the next posture, it'd be very handy if you have blocks or a chair or some surface you can bring your hands to. It could be a counter, though it's a little high. You might be more on your elbows than on your hands. So it's something where you can have your hands supported. So you've got 4 points rather than 2. So I'll show you with a chair, since probably more of you have chairs at home than blocks. So you want to be a foot to 18 inches back from your chair, not too far. blocks, same distance if you're using blocks, and we'll come up and we're going to move into a forward bend. You'll bring your hands to your blocks or your chair, bend your knees a little, and you're trying to find a flat tabletop across your back. So if you're on blocks, it would look something like this. So your heels are underneath your hips, your hands are underneath your shoulders, and working from a chair is a little bit easier for most people. So from here, taking one leg and stretching it straight back, flex your foot so your toes point straight down, and you can keep a little bend in your standing leg or move it straighter if that's better for you. And then you can try taking the opposite arm either out to the side or straight out overhead, just as we did on all fours. Stay here for a few breaths. Right. And then bringing the hand down, bring the foot down. Bend your knees, lift all the way up with the breath in. And then exhale to release. So we'll do the other side as well. Breathing in, lift up. Exhaling, bring your hands to the surface that you've chosen. You'll take the opposite leg now, swing it back. It doesn't have to lift parallel to the ground, but you don't want to lift it higher than parallel to the ground. It could certainly be lower. And then think about keeping a little lift through the heart. And then if you feel confident here, you could take the opposite hand. So the same leg, the same hand as the leg that's standing on the ground, out to the side or straight overhead. If your chair is just the right height, you could even rest your arm on the chair, or for a little more effort, lifting the arm. When you're ready to release, you can bring the hand down, bring the leg down, bend your knees and lift all the way up with a breath in. And exhale to release. Let's do a little bit of forward bending now just to bring everything back to alignment and let go of the effort of warrior poses. Taking a breath in, coming up. You can either bring your hands to your chair, your legs, the blocks, the ground, whatever works. Try to let your head release. Continue for a few more rounds at your own pace, lifting with an inhale, releasing with an exhale. Last one, if you like, you can stay here in the forward bend for a few breaths. Again, variations to have the elbows on the thighs might work best for you, or hands on your chair might be a nice option, or whatever works. Whenever you're ready, you'll come up with a breath in, reaching up, and then releasing. So if you've got things all over your mat the way I do here, you might just move them out of the way so that we can come down to the ground without all of that getting in our way. And then once you've cleared your space, we're going to come down onto the ground. You could actually do this lying on the couch or bed, in fact. Some of the lying poses aren't so great on a softer surface, but some work fine, and we won't be doing too much movement here before Shavasana, so be comfortable. As you come to lie down, bring one hand onto somewhere in the lower rib cage or the heart, the other hand to the belly. The legs could be bent or straight. We'll take just a moment and tune into the breath again. And if you find your mind wandering, you can always use the sound yum to focus your breath. So you'd Just silently or even out loud if you like, make the sound yum as you exhale. And then taking the arms out to the sides. If you want, as we move into the twist, if you find you want a bit more stretch for your shoulders and chest, you can raise the arms a little higher, maybe even bend the elbows. You want to make sure that the hands and the elbows are on the ground, and they're very comfortable before you begin. So if you're already feeling a stretch before you start twisting through the shoulders, you'll probably find it gets more intense. So starting here with a breath in. As you exhale, knees can go one way as the head goes the other way. And then you'll inhale to come back to the center. And exhale to switch. Again, you can keep that sound going with each exhalation if you find it helpful. Or just stay with the breath as it is. Maybe one more to each side as feels right for you. If you've had enough, you can always come back to the center and just breathe and rest. And when you eventually feel like you're complete with the twist, come back to the center. You can bring your knees up in towards your body. And again, if you like, silently making the sound yum on your exhale as you draw the knees towards you. And then moving them away as you inhale. And then any other movement here. So if you want to circle your knees or rock side to side, if you want to stretch your arms and legs up and give them a shake. So take another minute or two, just with whatever might feel good for your body. And then as you feel ready to wind down, you can get whatever props you might need to support yourself for Shavasana, or move to a more comfortable position, or add more clothing, or whatever you need to do. So take a minute or two to wrap up your movement and get into a comfortable place for Shavasana. If you've got an active afternoon ahead of you, you could even try doing Shavasana seated rather than lying down. Entirely up to you. So when you do eventually find that position that's going to work best for you for Shavasana, just find your breath there and start to focus your attention on your exhalation. There's nothing you need to do. right now, but breathe. Inhale with ease, exhale with ease. On your exhale, see if you can find a little more softening, a little more heaviness in the body. Let it sink down with each exhale. Let the weight of your head go. And as you relax the head and let it drop down, feel your neck release and all the muscles of your face soften. Let go through the throat and neck even a little bit more. Feel your shoulders start to release and drop down. Your arms and hands release. Feel the area around your rib cage soften. The belly and lower back relax. Feel the weight of your pelvis. Let go of any holding in the lower abdomen or around the buttocks. And as you exhale, let your hips sink down a little bit more. Soften your thighs and feel your knees relax and drop a little. Your calves and your shins, letting go of any holding or tension. Ankles and feet let go. And let each breath be a deeper letting go. Finding where you're holding tension and softening. The more we let go of the extraneous noise of life and tune into our deepest truths through this practice of self-knowledge, the more we live in alignment with our true selves, and then the more at peace we become. And the chant today offers that same sentiment, svadhyaya, to know or to study the self. Om Ritancha svadhyaya pravachane cha Satyancha svadhyaya pravachane cha Tapascha svadhyaya pravachane cha Tamascha svadhyaya pravachane cha Shamascha svadhyaya pravachane cha Agnayascha svadhyaya pravachane cha Agnihotrancha svadhyaya pravachane cha Atithayascha svadhyaya pravachane cha Manushancha svadhyaya pravachane cha Prajacha svadhyaya pravachane cha Prajanascha svadhyaya pravachane cha Prajatishcha svadhyaya pravachane cha Satyamiti satyavacharati taraha Tapa iti tapo nityah parushishtihi Svadhyaya pravachane evitina komadgayaha Tadhi tapas tadhi tapaha. So if you are ready to move out of Shavasana, you can start to deepen your breath. Add a little movement gradually as you're ready, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists, whatever wants to move. Gradually stretching, moving in any way that would feel good. Eventually rolling onto your side and making your way back upright in your own time. And if you decide to stay in Shavasana a little longer, that's fine too. And if you've come upright, you can bring your palms together. And I invite you to see how you might apply this theme into your life, knowing yourself. And when something doesn't work out the way you hoped it would, be making the commitment to try something different the next time. And in that way, we grow, we become more our authentic selves, and we become more easeful and peaceful in our skin. Namaste.